Hey, doing a market update here. It's in New Zealand. It is May 9th. It's 10:48 in the morning, and these people are just getting the party started. So what I thought I'd do here is I got a brainstorm, so I thought I'd share. Yeah, I decided to lay these charts out and pick 7 major currencies and put them in order of when the market opens against the dollar. So everything's against the dollar, and I try to put them in the order of the markets open. Of course, I think the Swiss and the Euro open around the same time, but I'm leading with the Euro. So basically the timestamp, if I was to hook it up like this, I figure here's New York time, and I'm going to go London for the pound. I'm going to go Zurich for the Swiss, and Tokyo here. I'm going to consider I should have one here that says Berlin or something. And then Sydney would be in Sydney, and Wellington, I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool. So yeah, like this, and oops, yeah, okay, I just got to put one in here. So this is the way I'm viewing the market, and this is the daily charts. So as the war against the dollar proceeds, or the love of the dollar, New Zealand opens up yesterday, or yeah, I guess. Well, this is Wednesday, this spike, and usually you get a spike on the Wednesday markets because this is the swap thing, and so they went up and grabbed that. Of course, I'm bullish on New Zealand all day long, and but people got to make money, they got to take their profits. But I'm definitely, this is the place to go. Boy, here's a nice setup here for these are 20 pip grids, so I'm looking to make 40 pips here. It could pull back and reconsolidate, but that's the daily. The 4-hour, it's kind of a no-brainer on the 4-hour. You got this perfect divergence, triple bottoms that are drifting slower, and you're in a looks like you're in a 11 pip range here, pretty tight for the opening, but we're slightly up, and we ricocheted off of this support here. That wick there could have been kind of widespread, so it's a little deceiving. But in top-bottom theory, if you got a buy limit here on this top, I guess it's a little bit scrunched. See this top? This is a classic fishbowl thing with the pivots being right here. This is my 20 pip hillbilly chart. So here's $2 on a 1K. So it's a Starbucks on a 2K here. I'm in a 1K with the 40 pip stop. Well, it's like some kind of after taxes. Here's a trend line break. If you were to have the you only have to watch this every 4 hours. You pull the trigger here on the 4-hour, bam. Nearly a perfect top bottom from here, but consider that a doji or a hammer or something, or a zag. But this zag keys back to here on New Zealand, so that's a no-brainer. And I set this other broker up the same way. I'm going to go with this format. So this is the dollar going across the planet. Well, not across the planet, but interesting. I used to notice that the pound and the CAD trade together, and I couldn't figure out why. That's because this is only 5 time zones apart from New York to I lost my clock thing, but this is 5 GMT difference. And then this is actually, this one is 8 away from here. So the circuit loop when New York closes here, and then this guy just opened, and we're going into this session, and then when this guy closes, it'll be the first to close. That's kind of when I guess the new kid on the block starts to, liquidity dries up. But there's this kind of interesting, if you consider the flow of money from left to right, this is kind of your how to play the dollar. That's why I'm I'm planning on buying this on a retest of this or a possible plunge all the way into no man's land, like 40 pips down, like say in an hour. Of course, I don't think it's going to. News is coming out in about 2.5 hours on this currency pair. So this is a 4-hour chart, and I could conceivably conceive a plunge into here, which I was expecting last night, but I only got to here. So I bought this plunge last night, and we never got into this top. And I didn't even touch that top, let alone this top, which is the classic internal saucer, edge of the saucer entry, you know. And ideally, this has not pulled back to the channel to really get in. I would get in like, actually, I think it's going to overcorrect a little bit, so, but certainly anywhere in here, because right now, it is nearly an entry, but I would say go like this and put a half-hour order. That's about 10 pips deep, so if they nab it on the open, if we get a little spike down here. But the news, I don't know what this news could crush the whole thing in, so this order will expire before the news breaks. But if you put the 4 hours and the 3 hours in here really deep, because they could rip this all the way back to... and this happens all the time in Forex. I mean, literally 150 pip spike there, bam, ricochets off. But if you buy this and then you exit here, that's a chunk. You know, it's a 100 pip chunk there. Of course, you have to set these up in advance, and you know, they say plan your trades, trade your plan. So like this triple top here on the daily, and this top became a bottom. This is the head for the two shoulders that failed. You know, you have to manually draw this stuff. You know, it's like every market's unique. You can't let the robot draw these lines for you. So the Gartley stuff is worthless. I mean, you have to do it yourself. Like here, you broke, you're riding it. This is supply zone. You could do this kind of, which I think is ridiculous trendline work, is to come off of these wicks. It just means nothing. It's the close of day is when they settle your books. That's when the margin calls typically come in futures markets. And these guys are trading on the futures. So when the close of day comes, that is the timestamp. So this top bottom here, this is the place to get in here on the daily. And then here, this top, you follow it across. Follow that across. You'd see it on the, so I think I froze the platform there on that poor thing. But this is the pivot. And then this ends up being major support here at the trend line. You've got, you know, these three. You confirmed a fourth touch. And, you know, this is just simple stuff. But now we're getting into the problem where we're starting to track sideways, which could be distribution or a reaccumulation. But definitely after a big move, if this is this final press into this major place where everything fell apart. But of course, that's the target, is to take that out and keep climbing. So I would get in on the pullbacks that exist in here. You know, the daily, you got to drill down to this zoomed in feel, otherwise you'll miss the entry. But right here or back here, ideally you place a pending inside fair value back in here and get filled there, because built into this order you would have an exit at this last known bottom. So you ricochet off that, but bam bam, you scalp that, but you're actually long with maybe a stop there. But of course, if you get stopped out of there, you definitely want to re-enter here for a ricochet into this thing. So you're always thinking about what would happen if it backs up on you. Can you make money when it's going up and down? Yes, certainly. I mean, I have a pending sell order right now up here out of reach. But if they reach that, probably going to come back to here. So you could scalp that window. But, I mean, there's only so much time left in the week here, so I go to the 4-hour. And 4-hour looks a little more likely, but, of course, in your mind's eye, you got to know this thing could back up and crush into all the way down into here. No problem. So they could just go blam. I've done it a million times. Everybody's on the same stairway. Everybody's reading the same chart. Everybody's got the same, bullish consensus for the whole week. But the end of the week's coming, so maybe one last gasp up to here, or we just blow out the top and go to Disneyland on that one. But let me go back to the global view of everything. So I'm long New Zealand because they're going to kick the dollar's ass one more time here, but I'm also long the pound. I'm long every currency, sadly, because I'm hedging this. Everything got obliterated, but I'm longer CAD than anything because this is like the most obliterated currency. Not to say you can't tank some more, so I had to save some dry powder for a possible plunge into another 30 pips down, which would certainly take us back into the key buying zone, which is right near this top. But if you zoom out and bring out the trusty equidistant channel, throw it on the top, find the next high, scooch it over to the inflection point, drag this over to this top, confirm the rollover. So here's the fractal rollover of the daily CAD, and then you can do Andrew's pitchfork here. Pitchforkosaurus, in other words, I copy that over, bring it to the center, so you cue it here. So you're kind of coming into the midline of this channel, and you're approaching the support zone. So I know it looks like it's going to hell, but when it came out and grabbed this thing, this is a scalp up into here for me. So I'll ride this all night until New York opens. I mean, that's probably going to be about a 6-hour retrace there. So that's easy money for a scalp because it's just literally in no man's land here. So I figure it may tank, but I think first we come up and then we tank. If we tank, possibly these orders come in, and then I ride it up and just play the whole drama in this channel. Eventually we take out this. Stock market goes and crashes. Yellen's gonna, the markets will probably increase interest rates, and then the Fed will just have to play along. But this thing is building a serious, this apex of this triangle is another possible re-entry point. These are usually the juiciest re-entries because it comes back into the explosion point that everybody missed out on the entry here. And you got this triple top, so you place an order on every top there. So dollar CAD, dollar CAD is going to do some serious upside damage to stock markets in big trouble. S&P's in Disneyland. People are just going to get their head handed to them all over again. Same drama, same old story, different day, different year, different life. There's the weekly dollar CAD. Take off my speculative channel, but let's go for the big channel. We haven't actually pulled back to this channel yet, or even to the pitchfork of that, but that thing was on a hell bent to come up here and take out these 5 years of price. Okay, let's move on to the dollar yen, another big drama. Let's go to the dailies. This is kind of ready to fall into a giant hole and get crushed. I think the dollar could take it on the chin here all the way back to this double top. If this doesn't hold, there's a fragile trend line in here. If this doesn't hold, actually just broke out. So if buyers don't come in, and in other words, if they don't, the buyers that are going to get their stops cleaned here, It's only got 40 pips to go, and it'll start chowing on that. If that doesn't become the place where this thing resumes the uptrend, then I think it is cooked for the dollar-yen ride. Sadly, I think it's over for this pair. If it doesn't hold that line, that's the weekly dollar-yen. It's just, wow. It's all the way back to the starting gate. Or at least to this top. 83 cents. Ouchie wawa. I don't know, this 5-year descent. Top bottom on the monthly. Psycho retrace. Wow. What's up with this puppy? I don't know. I guess sideways for a while. Certainly a buy. This last on top. Who knows? Let's zoom out. Look at the big picture here. Monthly. Monthly dollar-yen. Hasn't come up into this yet. I guess it won't be happy till it gets back to the test that top. 109. Wow. Remember those days? That's right when I opened my account. So yeah, here's the most manipulated market in the world. Here's the I think that the euros had it. I think it got what it wanted. Got up into here. So maybe it's cooked. Look at that poor thing. Boy, it struggled to get up there. Not the most ambitious ride of a currency. I think it's baked. I think this is going to go down with the stock market. If we take out this trend line, of course, we're far from it, I guess. First, we got to take out this trend line. But I think that would scare the hell out of people if we pulled back into here. $1.36. We fill this window. It would certainly put a little bite on the stock market. 800 points on the Dow. And then the let's see, the British pound. My favorite trade of the whole year is this guy. This is the strongest currency of all the majors, going in uncharted water, going into 5-year zone. It's out of control. Definitely going to have a problem up here in this 174. If we ever make it, it could be done for a while. May have to come all the way back into this triple top. Who knows? Who's got the patience to wait for that trade anyways? Jeez. I'm just shorting it for the day. You know, 4-hour window. You get hit by a train tomorrow. I can't sit there and think about those trades. But anyways, I thought for all those people like to fantasize they had to have the patience for that trade, I thought I'd look at that chart. But who's not just happy buying this 4-hour supply line like a hillbilly? Come on. Same story. Triple bottom, reconnecting. Looks just like the New Zealand trade. It's all the same. It's all the same. You can't even tell what market you're looking at after a while. So, yeah. This thing's got to come back to planet Earth for me to get in. That was just overbaked and then some. And look at these top bottoms on the way down the... it's just like crazy stupid. Bottom becomes a top. Of course, this is like the end of the pullback. That's why I'm going for New Zealand here. New Zealand and the CAD retrace. So, 4-hour chart. That's all I can handle. Swing trading on the 4-hour chart. I'll leave the 1-hour charts to the crackheads, and I'll leave the dailies to people with patience. Looking for retest on this yen too. Watching this puppy come down for another 20 pips, scalp it up. Just play the scalp game on this guy. Go for 40 pips. Okay, that's my my plan. And then here it's going to be this thing's holding up fairly well. We got news in 2 hours, so come back to this thing here. Let's hit the pause button, come back to this drama, see how I make out on this Australian news trade, and the trend line holds. Get a better channel looking there. So let's see what kind of crazy drama we can get here.